Dodge gives a timeline on when it's coming to the Cup Series, and another NASCAR crew member finds out social media is unkind if you work in the Cup Series. Let's get into it. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? I hope you're doing good today. All right, Tim Kniskus went on to the Happy Hour podcast where he was talking to Kevin Harvick about Ram coming to the truck series when he dropped this bombshell. A lot of very smart people, smarter than me, said you'd better plan on 2 years to get back to Cup, but to be determined. I'm always pushing for the quicker timeline, so I'm hoping that it's 2027, 2026 for truck, 2027 for Cup. Comments made on the Happy Hour podcast, the quote I got from motorsport.com via Jayski. But right there, it shows you that although a lot of people are predicting that it's going to be 2028 before they get to the Cup Series, he seems to be very confident that they can get it done by 2027, and obviously talking about coming into the Truck Series in 2026, which begs several other questions, but he did have some more interesting things to say as to why, of course, he's getting into the Truck Series first, and then they'll come to the Cup Series with the Dodge brand. Coming into truck is a lot easier than coming into Cup, admitted Kniskus, before adding, it's going to take a little bit longer to get to Cup. Our goal is to get to Cup a year after that truck return. Now, everybody has told me we're crazy. There's no way you're going to get there, but we think there's a couple of things from our legacy that might speed that development time up, and maybe we can be at Daytona this year with truck, and then the following year, Daytona in Cup. And so obviously what he's referring to, getting into the truck series much easier. You've got the Ilmor engines. The engine program is already figured out, and all you have to do is come up with a nose to go onto a body template. So that part of it is figured out as well. Like I said, all you got to do is get a nose. That's pretty easy to do. In the Cup Series, I'm thinking what everybody probably is going to hold them back is, engine development. Now, their engine is still up to spec. Obviously, there's going to be have to have some people go through it and, get things up to speed as far as horsepower and configuring it to run on the EFI and all that good stuff. But I think he feels confident from what he is referring to as legacy, their engine development from the past time that they were in Cup. So he seems to think that the engine program is up to snuff, and the only thing that I'm thinking he's thinking in his mind is they just have to get the nose and the hood, the components of this next-gen car that are up to the manufacturer's discretion, whereas the rest of the car is basically a template already from NASCAR. So I'm thinking he feels confident in his engine program. They just have to figure out a nose that gets approved, and I guess hood and fenders that get approved by NASCAR to fit this next-gen car. However, he did say it is a goal to get there by 2027. He didn't say matter of fact for sure that they will be there in 2027. But the thing that's sort of flying under the radar, we knew Dodge and Ram were coming. We knew Ram was coming back to the Truck Series. This, to my knowledge, is the first time that he has come out and said, hey, Dodge is coming back to the Cup Series. So several bombshells right there, and a few questions do remain. Question number one being, we still don't know who the truck teams are that are going to run the Dodge frame, and we also still don't know who the Cup teams are now that he's trying to target and figure out who are going to join him in the Cup Series. Of course, obviously the last time Dodge got out was because Penske got out, and Dodge still wanted to be in the Cup Series. They just didn't have a team that wanted to run Dodges, at least a high-level team, to run those Dodges at the Cup level. What team does he have in the sway, in the fold, that he can, run those Dodges? That remains to be seen. So still a lot more questions than answers out there. And I think from a marketing perspective, this is smart. Let this ride out for a while, and then when it starts to die down, start announcing, your Truck Series team. When it starts to die down again, go ahead and announce who your Cup Series affiliate is going to be. Of course, the Cup Series affiliate, they'll probably announce that way later because they don't want whoever is working with that Cup Series affiliate right now to pull their funding, pull their team support, a la what we saw with Chevrolet and Legacy a few years ago. All right, moving right along. As expected, 2311 and Front Row Motorsports are going to appeal the pre-motion judgment to not be able to use the charters or use the benefits of the charters that they had already purchased in the lawsuits with everything going on. So the pretrial motion is going to be appealed yet again. I basically think every step of this case, you can just go ahead and expect this. It's going to get appealed to the very last appeal, no matter who wins what. That just seems to be the way that this thing is gone. But there you go. There is your update on the 2311 case. This from Nick DeGroot. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has confirmed Boyd no longer with the team. Hayek Motorsports fires NASCAR's Cup spotter Tab Boyd. Hayek Motorsports has parted ways with spotter Tab Boyd, who worked with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and the number 47 Chevrolet weekend rosters show that Clayton Hughes will be atop the spotter stand for Pocono, replacing Boyd. Stenhouse confirmed the news on Friday morning in a Sirius XM NASCAR interview, saying, "That's an unfortunate deal. The team let Tab Boyd go this week, and they got Clayton Hughes come fill in. I've never worked with Clayton. No reason was given for the firing of Boyd. While Motorsport.com reached out to the team for clarification, we have not yet heard back from team representatives." So Tab Boyd no longer with Hayek Motorsports. They didn't give a reason. We kind of already know the reason. We're going to touch on that in just a minute. But he is still working in the Xfinity Series for DGM, and he does still have a job over there at Thor Sport and Trucks, as far as we know, because he does work with both of them. So he's not completely out of a job, still in the game as far as that goes. His replacement, Clayton Hughes, does have experience working with Michael McDowell that I know of. Michael McDowell, he worked with him at Front Row Motorsports, and he was a part of the Furniture Row team. I think that won the championship, if I'm not mistaken, but I know he was at least working with them in 2019. So even though Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has not worked with Hughes, he does have a quality pedigree, so you would seem like you're still getting a quality spotter there at the end of the day. Of course, this right here is the reason that most people are pointing to as to why Tab was let go. I'm ready to go home. Screw this place. People can talk it up all they want. Can't even walk out the front door of the hotel without getting hustled and money snatched in less than 5 minutes. Good area, my butt. He has since deleted his X/Twitter account since making that post, and of course has been fired. And it has led to all kinds of debates. One side thinking that he should be able to say whatever he wants to say. One side saying that you can't say that. But at the end of the day, neither one of those things actually mattered, because the reason he is let go is pretty much as simple as this. Yes, you have freedom of speech. Yes, you can say whatever you want to say. However, a NASCAR Cup Series car is a rolling billboard. And on the side of that rolling billboard are sponsors that want the people in that market where you're racing to buy their products. When you essentially say screw a place that essentially the sponsor on the side of that race car is trying to sell products to, the sponsor on the side of that race car is not going to like that, so you are therefore a liability, because you don't just represent yourself on social media when you work for a Cup Series team. You represent that team, and you also represent the sponsors that are on that team's car. And so at the end of the day, whether you think he's right, whether you think he's wrong, that doesn't matter, because, you know, the sponsors and the team, they're trying to make money and sell product, and that's a bad look for somebody trying to make money and sell product. So at the end of the day, you can say what you want to say, but probably not the smartest thing to do. So once again, social media, not your friend, if, of course, you are working for a NASCAR Cup Series team or a driver for a NASCAR Cup Series team, which is in direct irony or contrast to the fact that NASCAR wants as many people or as many drivers out there as possible promoting the sport on social media and stuff like that. But when things go sideways, immediately NASCAR wants to control the message. So they want people on social media, but they don't want the social media message to be anything more than fluff pieces. So, basically, if you've got something like that to say, I would suggest don't say it. If you can't refrain from not saying it, create what's called a burner account. So use the burner account if you just absolutely have to get that out there. This, of course, comes on top of, Carson Hocevar, also from Spire, catching a $50,000 fine from the team. So, you can say what you want to on social media. You can do what you want to on social media. But at the end of the day, just know that you represent sponsors and teams. And those sponsors and teams, they're going to have something to say about it. So, burner account. Or like Herm Edwards said on ESPN a long time ago, don't hit send. So, it is what it is. And a few odds and ends before we finish up here. Ware Racing is countersuing Legacy over the charter kerfuffle over there. So that is the latest update on that. And possibly in 2028, we could have a Philadelphia street race. Yet to be seen. Adam Stern broke that one. And also, San Diego looks like they are the leading candidate to get a street race as well. So the next, and those are all rumors, of course. We'll see if they all pan out. But yeah, San Diego looking like they might get a street race, and that might be what replaces, the LA race until they can get, if they ever get Fontana built again. So we will see what happens with that. But that's what's out there right now. And that's all I got for you on this one. Thanks for hanging out this long, and until the next one, thanks for your time. Peace.